Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 7 of House of M season 3. We have a fun episode lined up for you. We have a House of M review of an old Disney movie. We have our rapid fire debate, and we will be doing a fantasy draft of button pushing games. Enjoy the show. Alright guys, we are back. This is a consecutive episode. We did an episode last week and we're back again, so it feels good. We're getting back in a flow here.
Feels good. We are all alive, breathing.
Couple masks in the room.
I'm looking out the window right now, and there is currently no bodies laying around. Every now and then, a wheelbarrow comes around with a bell ringing, saying, "Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!"
I've got a nice wet cough going, and it's really wet, so you don't really get anybody looking at you in public. They're like, "Oh, he's hacking up stuff. He's okay." It's not a dry cough.
The other day in Walmart, I had to cough, and
get looked at.
What happened was,
You
instead
get
of coughing,
mobbed.
I farted real loud just to cover up the cough.
And
Nobody even looked at me.
If you sneeze in public, the society that's already kind of spaced out awkwardly around like the grocery store, they become like that movie The Crazies, where they just start like walking slowly towards you with like their pitchforks and stuff.
Yep.
It is crazy. Like, the only thing that I can possibly do outside my house is yard work, walk the dogs, or go to Walmart.
Yeah, clean the garage.
And pretend like I'm getting food because it's an essential.
I've seen so many garages clean since this pandemic has taken over. But Corona did strike this week. We knew it was coming, and Marvel released their new dates. So we're going to have to wait quite a while for the Marvel Cinematic Universe to release their greatness. And I am officially bummed.
You know, we got to get out of this eventually, but this is really going to affect... Now it's starting to affect our comic book world in many ways, more than just the Marvel dates being pushed back. Everything's being pushed back to 2021. I mean, are we going to get a good movie this year after they run out of stuff to put online? I don't think so.
I will say this, though, and I don't partake in this at all, illegal movies, but you can get them online now, I heard, real easy, so that's one positive. But, yeah, the new dates are out, and
well, I will say we
trying to find them here.
What was it? We bought the Impractical Jokers movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was one that came out. It was in theaters, but it hadn't made it out on DVD yet. And since now they're releasing it, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Onward's on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah,
that's one that went straight to Disney Plus. We haven't watched it yet.
It's got a couple of our beloved Marvel actors in it.
I'm actually looking forward to watching that movie. They say it's like a good movie for brothers.
Because I think that's Chris Pratt and Tom Holland, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and those guys are awesome. So, like I said, Black Widow is pushed back. I'm just going to go over the dates real quick, and then we can talk more depressed. But Black Widow is coming out November 6th. Eternals is pushed back till 2021. So is Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, and Thor's pushed all the way back to 2022. And, of course, Captain Marvel in 2022.
This is ridiculous. I mean, can we, guys... Literally, we are in April right now, and pretty much by the time this is over, it's probably not even going to be over this year. I mean, we're probably still going to be dealing with the virus for the rest of 2020. It's like we turned the year clicker over from 2019 to 2020, and everybody's life has been turned upside down. It's like you stepped into the Clockwork Orange. We fell into the rabbit's hole of Alice in Wonderland. There's all kinds of crazy stuff happening. I mean, it's affecting everybody's life. I don't care if you're rich, if you're poor, if you own a business. Everybody's getting affected somehow or another. Some people are being affected with the virus, while other people are being affected with I mean, the comic book industry, guys. This is going to be a test because I've been looking at my emails on Facebook, and there's been some of our local comic book stores that are really, 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 I don't know. If they don't open back up soon, I do not know if they're going to be able to weather this storm. I know they've been sending out emails every day. They're trying to do their online sales.
They're doing carryouts as well.
They're doing carryouts, but they're not getting any of the new product because guess what? there is no new comic books coming out either.
Mhm.
So we have no new comic books, no new comic book movies. This is like we're turning back the clock. It's like
Yeah.
all of a sudden we're like, man, we have nothing. This is the stupidest piece of crap year I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what do we have to look forward
Yeah,
to. In
like-
I'm
2020?
tired of it being actually though compared to World War II because you'll say we're in a war and like when this is all done, we're not going to be like, man, I survived. I survived the coronavirus war. Like it is bad and I'm not going to make light of it, but comparing it to World War II when we've got veterans and our papaw was in World War II, and you think about those guys that were in the trenches, putting their buddies' eyes back in place and laying in like filth and mud and death and trench warfare and millions of people giving their lives. This is not World War II.
Actually, if you
okay?
think about it, and I think we almost ended the World War I in 1918. Then they came home. They were decimated by what everybody wants to look at as the Spanish flu, the Spanish flu, the 1918 or whatever it was. But they're like, this is the next one. It's like millions. I mean, almost half the globe died in 1918. After like a quarter of the globe died in World War I, and then about 15 years later to 20 years later was 1940, 40 something. Like a quarter of the world's population died again in World War II. Like, so we're dealing with a little sickness here.
Yeah,
Some people are dying, but
we're social distancing
I'm
and
worried
watching
about
Netflix.
I'm worried about like we're doing our online sales. So we got our online sales. We're doing that. It looks like it's probably gonna be every other Saturday. We'll advertise it ahead of time when we're doing one. I know we're doing one next Saturday, but it's like comic book industry right now is kind of we're all trying to hold each other up. We don't have that stuff being released constantly. Disney Plus sucks. I'm sorry if you're out there loving it, but they should have had all this content ready. Where's the content?
They're early releasing stuff like Onward.
Yeah.
Hey,
Onward's-
and Marvel feels our
Onward's a
pain.
20
Where's my
movie.
Marvel stuff? I've watched the same Marvel stuff that I'm not going to be able to watch a new Marvel product till almost 2021.
And you need to rewatch Mandalorian because it's coming. It's
That's
coming.
fine. Where's my Marvel?
Fall is coming.
I got nothing. Every year I'm used to being blunderbust with Marvel.
Marvel
like,
feel-
in the face with a blunderbuss of Marvel.
To be fair,
and this year Marvel's like
Marvel could, spit stuff out like DC did with Birds of Prey, but we don't like them
Thank you,
sending
Caleb.
stuff
Yeah.
to the theaters.
If you
that
can't,
flops.
do, yeah,
They've
exactly.
had plans.
I am fine
they have
with
had
waiting.
plans and they've canceled
No.
everything.
You got to understand that Disney, and what I love about them, we've talked about this with artistic things, could get very far along in a project and be like, yeah, this is not up to our standard, and they start from scratch.
So what you're
But
saying
we don't
is,
have to worry about a
So what
Snyder
you're saying
cut.
is they had all this product on Netflix. They had all these awesome shows. Every single one of them canceled. I'm rewatching The Punisher season 2 for the fourth
Good
time.
for you.
Good, and it's a good show.
Why
to
is there not a
rewatch.
season? They could have had all these new seasons we're watching, but no.
Like Marvel feels our pain as well, and we have another news: the Marvel Unlimited online comics
Yes.
is releasing for free of charge because they feel the pain of social isolation and quarantining. They're releasing some of their best books, right, Kib? I think.
Yeah, so what you want to do, Marvel Unlimited is normally like a paid per month thing. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go out and get Marvel Unlimited and download these because they're probably not going to always be free. Marvel is going to end up charging you. And right now they're free. So go out there and get them and download them to your phone and then throw them on an external storage if you'd like. Whatever you want to do. But go out there now and get them because they're going to be free. And who knows, DC might even be doing this soon, taking away the monthly subscription and just allowing people to have comics for free. Because that is a nice thing. As Cole was kind of hinting at earlier, we're not getting new comics. And that was other news that also came out this week, kind of tying in with Marvel Unlimited giving us free comics, is that the king of the industry, not Marvel, not DC, but Diamond Distributor, is canceling all orders sent out to local comic shops. So this is going to hurt the curbside pickups, and this is going to hurt local comic shops horrendously. But as Cole, Jared, and I were talking, this could be good for local comic shops when all this coronavirus stuff is done, because they can pick which distributor they want, and it's not a monopolized industry anymore, with just Diamond controlling everything, because Diamond, from what I've heard from our few local comic shops, sucks. So could be a plus side coming with comics in the future. Hopefully.
I hope so, because eventually we're gonna have a comic book shop, but it's not just gonna be a comic book shop. I don't know if we talked much about our dream of
Dreams.
what we want to own, but we are working on it diligently. But one day we were gonna want to have a new comic, distributor, and hopefully it makes it easy on us to get our hands on some stuff.
Yes.
I will tell you guys, I was watching, and this goes for everybody at home right now. We just talked about World War II. We just talked about all the wars. I watched a little thing from Stan Lee about when they created Marvel Comics. And one of the coolest things is Marvel has been very good.
That was on Disney Plus.
Yes. I rewatched it for the fifth time. Everything I'm watching on Disney Plus now, I've rewatched it 19 times.
Have you watched this?
I'm actually gonna yes.
That's a good one.
I'm actually gonna cancel Disney Plus and sign up for the DC channel because they actually have new shows they're producing all the time. Anyways, what I was saying, Marvel does a very good job at always being like in the times. Like when World War II, they created the Captain America when he's punching Adolf Hitler in the face. To very social issues. Now is a time where people are trapped in their house. We have comics. There is a lot of people going to be turning to comics to read comics, get their stories, get some distraction from this madness that I can't turn my TV on with seeing this madness. I try purposely not to watch any of it ever again for the rest of my life. Like I will never watch the news again a day in my life after this is over because I'm so sick of seeing their faces. Anyways, we need comics. We need the stories. And I think Marvel's doing a great job here giving some comic books to people that need something to read. I will say, guys, we don't talk about it enough, but the DC channel does give you comics to read if you have their subscription through their DC channel.
Yeah, the monthly, yeah.
You can pull up. I don't know if they give you the new ones or not, but they give you certain runs of comics.
Yeah, they give you the trade paperbacks. It's
So
still
it's-
awesome.
And we're
It's
on
pretty
free
cool.
comics. Amazon Prime does give you free comic books
Yes,
as well.
Amazon does as well.
A lot of
Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I think if people need it right now, I'm absolutely tired of being in the house.
Yeah.
It's just driving me nuts, but we're all gonna get out here soon. But comics, Marvel doing a great thing. I'm really mad they don't have some shows we could be watching right now.
But they're
I
gonna
will
give
tell
us
you,
free
everybody
comics.
who's created a new show and they release it right now is probably have ratings through the roof because I'm constantly looking for something new to watch, put on the TV.
Yeah, I feel like the top 10 on Netflix changes every day because people are just
So
plowing
all
through
people need
Netflix.
to do is just plow.
series.
I literally started watching Punisher season 2 for the third time.
And I still need to hit Ozark season 3.
The Tiger King was like half a day, and I'm like, well, that was a fun ride. Did you finish it, Cole? Final thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, we can talk
Final-
about it
final
now.
thoughts on
This-
Tiger King.
Spoiler alert, we will talk about it.
Well,
I
yeah,
would
me and
say
Caleb
I-
got into it a lot last week, but
I have you ever watched something and you feel weird while you're watching it? Like it's affecting you emotionally. It's like you just feel weird.
yeah.
I felt weird when I was watching it, especially some of the everything that happened.
like you needed to take a shower afterwards.
Yes. It was just something I don't know. Something about it was people. There's something about the guy, the Tiger King. He just creeps me out. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Totally creeps me out. I think he was getting screwed over by that lady.
Yes.
Constantly, but dude,
I don't think
The
he's
guy-
as bad as Bhagwan.
which
The
one
one
was
with
that one?
3 wives
Yeah.
that trained
The cult
17-year-old
leader.
women.
The cult leader that
Oh,
lived
the
in the
cult leader in
compound.
Florida?
Yeah. Or Virginia or whatever it
I
is.
thought it was.
Yeah.
Was he down in Florida?
He's
or
in,
down
or he's in the Carolinas.
He's the one
has-
that
who-
rode an elephant to his
Yes.
harem of women.
Yeah.
Coming on in.
And women and people from around the country would join his apprenticeship program and get paid nothing and live on his compound.
Give them breast implants if they had too
I
small.
feel also
Horrible.
bad for the producer that lost all his footage.
Oh, yes.
And I think Tiger King guy burned it down.
Yeah.
But that is just a shame because that guy knew he had gold when he was walking around filming all that stuff. He's like, "This is gold."
That guy's voice
This is
was
absolute
getting
gold.
on my nerves. Where to start?
But I don't know,
Wow, smart.
his one husband blew his head out. Then they had security cam footage of the shot,
Oh, yeah.
and then that was creepy. But then when after that guy died, his first husband left.
Because he
He
wasn't
didn't have
gay.
any. I mean, I don't, guys. like he didn't have any teeth. That the bald one with no teeth, and he left because he wasn't. He's like, I wasn't gay. I was banging the
That's
secretary.
meth. The meth.
Yeah,
meth
I
I
goes
was
straight
banging
to
the
the
shop
teeth.
He had no
secretary.
teeth.
And then his other husband committed suicide. And 3 months later, he's got like a 19-year-old boy toy that he's got in the back of a limo going on a
Dylan.
date.
I think his name was Dylan.
I'm like, this guy's
My
nuts.
favorite guy, I think, came in episode 5. It's the guy that owned a bunch of strip clubs and had his hair almost like
Fat
I can't-
strip club
the
owner?
fat strip club owner.
just would
And
rat out
he's
anybody
riding on
at
the
any
jet
time.
ski towards the end of the season. That's
I don't
one of
know.
my favorite
I kind
scenes.
of like the I kind of like the homeless guy or guy who got out of jail, long hair. He's like the groundskeeper, and he's like nobody really looks at him through the whole show, and he's pretty much the one running everything, feeding the cow.
Someone's gonna
And he's
pull these
eating,
weeds from the.
Like the meat truck pulls up, and he's like, "Oh, this looks good. This sausage looks good. I'm gonna take this back to my trailer."
I think what the show did was just we knew cat people were crazy, and we finally got an example of it filmed. And these are like big cat people. So
See, I didn't even know this big cat thing existed. I feel sorry
No one
for the
knew that
cats.
this existed the way we see.
Like I had no idea like there was some kind of underground cult going on where you, and I'm just gonna be honest, it disgusts me that there's a lady out there claiming that she is, what was her name, Carol
Baskin.
Baskins. Now, as much as I hated the show, I will have to tell everybody out there that I despise this lady more than I despise the Tiger King and everybody else.
She's
Because
a
you are on
supervillain.
the internet and you are claiming that you are some big cat rescuer, and then they show your cages and you have worse cages, worse conditions. Your cats, no wonder you have so many graves and they're dying
Yeah.
left and right. And then you have all these people that work for you for free and you're collecting millions of dollars, and then you're trying to sue the
She's got
pants
a
off
scheme.
everybody.
She was just like,
Hey, all you cool cats
Look,
and kittens.
I'm all about a good entrepreneur, and I apologize, I dropped my Sharpie. I got so worked up. I am all about entrepreneurship, business. Business is war, but it is not to the point where you have to personally degrade somebody. There's one of my favorite lines in The Sopranos and all of Mafia is, it's business, it's not personal. When you start attacking somebody personally, then the whole thing, that lady left a bad taste in my mouth, as well as Tiger King's 3 husbands.
well, season 2, I think that they're going to go after. It's going to be find out
Yeah,
that there's a cold case opening
if
up.
she killed, I
The
mean,
murder of her rich husband. That
honestly, why didn't the mob, if I was in the mob, why wouldn't I have a tiger farm? Then you could just be like, well, this guy's dead, throw him out there in the meat wagon.
Yeah.
Back that up to the tiger cage.
Well,
Here comes the meat wagon.
I mean, that's awesome. We should probably get this show rolling. We are doing, we have a packed show, and that was a good intro. A lot of stuff going on. Everyone's staying in. A lot of news.
Bring
dropping
out
every day.
your dead.
So we're going to start with a House of M review.
Bring out your dead.
Enjoy.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. You don't fear death. You welcome it.
guys, we're now gonna get our Pac-Man balls out, and we are going to do a review, House of M
Got my balls out.
review.
I didn't grab too many pack balls for this movie, if I'm honest.
So I would
Set
like
'em on the
to
table, Caleb.
intro this
But
with our friends from our last time. I talked to them this week on Twitter. So if anybody out there hasn't followed us on Twitter and you want to see what's going on with, I mean, we're on all of them, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's at HofM Sensi. So this is kind of where this comes from. But if you want to, they kind of issued us a challenge, Jared. I know you saw it. They issued us a challenge this week. So I don't know if you wanted to go over what the challenge was with the BB and C podcast.
And BB and C.
The BBC and C.
they challenge. They're primarily they primarily do.
You know they did it on purpose.
They do a lot of movie reviews, and they do a good job at it. And we do review movies, but now we don't always dive back into our Wayback Machine on movies, and we are going to do that today. They gave us a challenge of 2 movies. We did select one. We went with this gold mine out of the Disney vault, and when these were DVDs, I don't think this one came out of the vault very often because it was that treasured. but it is on the Disney Plus now. A lot of things are out of the vault, and we went with the classic G-Force.
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 G-Force. I thought I said G-Unit.
G-Force.
Same era, yeah.
It's my birthday. It's
Guys,
my birthday.
this movie was a roller coaster ride, to say the least. Now, Caleb, I think, watched it as a child. I don't know if Cole
Yes,
did. I
that
did
was
not
my
have
age.
the pleasure to have nostalgia when I watched this movie, so I was with fresh eyes.
I
Saw,
remember this coming out, but I never watched it.
I remember, and I
I think it was
I think
2009.
you guys were too old, I think. And
It was
I
2009, and I graduated 2001, so I was probably out partying somewhere.
I mean, this is a cast of characters that are actually cast in this movie. We have Nicolas Cage, you have Tracy Morgan, you have Will Arnett, obviously Zach Galifianakis.
Mm-hmm.
So you see those cast of characters, and you're like, all right, what am I getting myself into? And I went on a wild roller coaster ride. I know we can get into the plot and the details of this movie, but I went from thinking that this was a horrible movie, but I didn't have nostalgia, to this was, okay, it's so bad it's funny, like you're watching a B movie, like just for the humor of the bad writing and the bad plot and just the bad everything, to thinking that it was actually just a bad movie again. And then I went further, and it was actually funny yet again, because that's how this movie, I know you guys have some thoughts on it, but I really thought that it had a...
I'll tell you, I just want to give the audience my first reaction of the movie. Just my very first, when it played, I put it on, and I see Zach Galifianakis. I think that's how I say it. Galifianakis? Galifianakis?
Yeah, Galifianakis.
Zach Galifianakis. I love this guy as an actor. He's one of my top
Yep.
5 comedians of all time as an actor. So I see
fair.
this guy rolling in a car, talking into an earpiece to some guinea pigs.
Guinea pigs, that's
And
right.
I'm like, I think I even texted you guys, like, it has Zach Galifianakis
Yeah.
in it. This is going to be a good movie. Oh, it's got Will Arnett in it. And that's how I felt starting the movie. And then about halfway through, I'm like, it's going to get funny here because it's got Zach Galifianakis in it. It's got Will Arnett in it. And then about 3/4 of the way through the movie, I was like, this is about it. This is where Zach Galifianakis is going to get funny. He's going to give some funny stuff going on here. And he just played a very serious, like, humdrum, like, nerdy scientist role that was trying to get for the FBI.
Yeah.
I didn't get much laughs out of him. I was bummed about that.
I think it's impressive that, I will give it, the writing of Zach Galifianakis' role was done so poorly with how they handled him, that you take a comedian actor who can literally just look at you in the camera and you crack up laughing, and somehow you don't do that in the entire movie. That's actually talent to be able to do it that way.
And Will
to
Arnett.
make him that not
Will
funny.
Arnett's like one of my favorite actors. He's
And
a
as an
funny
FBI
dude.
agent,
Yeah.
that's like perfect for Will Arnett.
Yeah.
That's good.
The
That was a
FBI.
good impersonation.
Thank you.
I just watching it, and like unlike Jared and Cole, I had seen this movie before. It had, I mean, granted, it's been forever, but I took it for what it is. You got guinea pigs that are trained kind of like with Ant-Man technology is what they kind of came up with in a saying, which I agreed with. If you look at it like that, and you look at the time frame, it's 2009. Cole mentioned the CGI was ahead of its time. The only thing I was disappointed in is like Disney could do so much better. Like, this doesn't seem like it's a Disney. They would stamp their name
Yeah,
on
but
this.
was it done with like Disney and another studio, or was it just Disney? I tried to
I
watch
don't
the
know.
credits at the end.
It
It was a Jerry Bruckheimer production through
wow.
Disney.
Oh.
Well, they were obviously someone with connections to Jerry that is like a third string writer on the Disney Channel, wrote the script on.
I'm with the point Caleb just brought up. So here's my quick take. I know we've all watched it, probably got a lot to say, but I wanted to do the BB&C podcast justice and give them a nice House of M, review.
Get into
so
the
I went
plot.
into the Galifianakis. I can't ever say his name, but I love the guy. Will Arnett. I honestly had no idea that Nicolas Cage was in it, but the mole was absolutely one of my favorite characters.
You would never guess it.
Like-
that might be his best acting.
Yeah,
Because
I
that
actually love
range.
the mole. The mole character reminded me of like Donatello in the Ninja Turtles. So I don't know about you guys, but I got this Michael Bay kind of like a bad Michael Bay movie feel from. It was like a. It almost reminded me of the Ninja Turtles a little bit, but it was.
Yeah.
I thought the Ninja Turtles was better, but it was almost. I got a little bit of a Michael Bay feel. But I'll tell you, like when it got in, you had the. What was the name, Caleb?
Which one? Tracy.
Sopranos actor.
Oh, Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi was one of my favorites as the little munchkin hamster in the pet shop.
Yeah.
Like he was hoarding all the nuts in there, and then there was like the opening in the bottom, and they like knocked him out. It's like, you mean that was there the whole time?
When that's funny you
You
mentioned that.
sacrificed the mole.
Because when he drew that line and he said, "Don't cross that line," I had like a flashback to a traumatic experience from childhood when everybody has a pet hamster and it's like the cool thing. You're like, this seems like a good idea. We got them as kids. You get a couple hamsters. I don't know if you've had this experience, but if you have a hamster and then you get another hamster, there's a 75% chance that the first hamster that was there will eat your hamster alive.
Yep.
We got up one morning, went downstairs to see our new fun little hamsters we probably were never going to
Eat
play
each
with.
other.
And their bowels were...
Cannibalistic.
Yeah, but they didn't even... Their bowels were opened
They're
up. It
evil.
was spilled out into our little hamster cage, and that's traumatic. But that's what I was reminded of from that little crazy hamster in that cage.
So I'll say I watched the whole thing. I didn't. I'm not going to stand here and say I hated it. But I'm going to say it left me always wanting more at every scene. And I think that with what they had, they could have done way better with the writing. They could have done way better with that stellar cast of characters.
We didn't even
stellar.
mention-
I'm talking like stellar.
We didn't
cast
even
of
mention,
character.
and I just brought him up because I love him. Sam Rockwell did Darwin.
John
Sam-
Favreau was in it, too.
Sam,
John
Sam,
Favreau.
Sam Rockwell. I love that guy.
Gosh,
He's
it just keeps going.
yeah.
So they had an all-star cast of characters. Now I will say, Caleb brought it
Can't
up.
fix bad writing. We
I don't know
this.
if I had brought this up in the segment or not. We were talking off air a little bit. Disney and Marvel bring one thing to the game that nobody else can touch. I've seen so many networks try to touch it. I've seen DC, and this is CGI I'm talking about, guys. Disney, Imagineers, and the Imagineering, and their technology, and Marvel's technology. This was 2009. I thought the CGI was immaculate in this movie.
Yes.
For 2009.
I agree with
They
you.
looked like absolute, and I will tell you that's one of my pet peeves with movies. That's what I hated about the DC, the movies they came
Steppenwolf
out with.
with
Steppenwolf
Justice League.
was horrible CGI'd. I mean everything. I mean the Wonder Woman movie, the first Wonder Woman. I love that movie, but the CGI in it was atrocious.
Yep.
I have not been able to find another studio who does Jurassic World. They do a pretty good job with the CGI.
Yep.
Is that DreamWorks
I don't know
or
who that is.
Sony?
Honestly.
No, that's Universal.
Yeah.
That's Universal.
Yep.
So Universal might match them a little bit with CGI.
I don't know who did Sonic, but I watched that
Sonic
today,
was
and
good
that
after they did
CGI
like the
was
13th
amazing. Yes.
rendition of,
Yeah, they had to correct a few.
Sonic. I'm just saying, I give it. So I don't know if
Here's
you
our
guys
first
want
balls announcement. No,
I'm
go
going to
ahead.
give Cole's balls. I'm going to give Cole's pack balls. So I'm going to give it a stellar 5.7
out of 10. This
out
is
of
out
10.
of this is out of 10 pack balls.
And
You're not too far off on
I would
IMDb there.
To me, that is a mid-range B-list Disney movie that probably, if I was a child, entertained the crap
Yes.
out of me.
Yeah.
I'm watching it. It was action-packed from beginning to end. But I, as an adult or as somebody watching the movie, I was left there wanting so much more.
Well, luckily it's only an hour and a half.
yeah,
yeah.
that was quick.
But it's just one of those movies where I felt like every time there was a new scene, I wanted something more out of these guys.
Yeah, I guess also to do the BB and C Justice, when they do their movie reviews, they do actually give you kind of a
Google
synopsis
BB&C.
of the plot. They kind of take you through with what the plot.
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
true.
listening to this and you haven't
Get us,
experienced the
Jared.
roller coaster of awesome that is the G-Force, we'll give you a little bit of what goes on in the story, and feel free to guys to react to any of it. Essentially, you have this little group of guinea pigs from the get. I mean, literally right after the intro scene, they need to save their elite force that they've been trained to do because they're about to lose funding from the FBI. So they want to go on this special mission from the jump to go prove that they are worthy of the funds from the FBI, your tax dollars.
It's kind of funny. I don't know if this is what they meant to, but by them being guinea pigs, this was a guinea pig project. Kind of funny.
Oh, and the mole was the mole.
Yeah.
But no, so they essentially, the whole plot of the movie, there's an evil corporation that is making appliances all over the world that need to be linked, and no one thinks that's suspicious. All the appliances are linked.
And somehow the CEO thought. What did he think?
Well, they're
He thought that was like just gonna link all their.
all the appliances were going to be
devices.
linked, but the company was actually, and Zach Galifianakis tells us they were selling the technology to none other than to be weaponized by the Middle East.
And what was
It's like Snowden.
what
all
was
over.
what was the name of the evil bad guy, Mr. Hayoshi or something?
Oh.
My Yuashi, which I
Yeah.
guess was mole in Japan, Japanese.
Well, there you go.
That's what he is. So all that literally is the storyline. There is a lot of toilet humor and some silliness and some Black Eyed Peas dropped along the way, and that's just what I
Gotta
got
love
from.
Black Eyed.
And that's where I went on my roller coaster of emotions through this movie of like, if this writer trying to write a well written children's movie? Because when I rewatch a movie that I watched as a child that has nostalgia, I'm like, all right, is this just nostalgic or is it good writing and a good story? But I thought that the writing in this was so bad. But then I'm like, well, maybe they're like, dude, it's supposed to be bad because it's funny.
That's true.
Because like even like the Black Eyed Peas, like all of a sudden, and I know they were popular at the time, and they had some hits.
Oh,
Think of
yeah.
what you want about the Black Eyed Peas, but they start playing Dirty Bit, and their beats dropping, and you're like, oh no, it's gonna be a little fun action sequence, and two guinea pigs jumped on each other's shoulder, and then they jumped off each other's shoulder. I'm like, I don't know who's piping in the soundtrack, but they don't need to pipe in the Black
Well,
Eyed Peas every single time the guinea pigs do something that's supposed to be.
On the way home, Jared, you mentioned your favorite scene.
Oh.
With the mole. What was that one?
So
explain that to
the movie.
listener.
I could get into a laundry list of things about the movie and awkward lines delivered that were not funny and didn't land with me. But the saving grace of the movie for me, and this was the highlight of that, is the mole becoming the bad guy. I didn't necessarily see it coming. I'm thinking like, where has the mole been? And then he goes on to give you the backstory of why he's doing it. And from the get-go, there was that extermination. He's like, Google mole. There's 30 million hits on how to exterminate us. And then there's a flashback, and it's like 10 seconds of the whole motive for him. And he's a baby mole, and his dad looks at him. He's like, if you ever,
as they're getting exterminated.
if you ever get a chance to bring the humans to their knees, son, do it. And that's the end. And then it snaps back to the mole, and we're like, that was an amazing,
actually a good
silly
scene.
cutaway of the mole's backstory. And actually, that's the only time I did chuckle. That, and then when his plot that he had masterminded for probably years or decades or since he was a child was thwarted when our lead guinea pig Darwin says, Speckles, we're family. And he's like,
Family.
oh, and then completely reverses
In
plot
like
on
3
everything.
seconds.
It's like 3 seconds.
kind of going off. Like,
What have I done?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What have I done?
What Jared?
No, it can't be stopped. It's too late.
What Jared and Cole were saying about maybe. So during this time though, movies were shorter. So if this was created nowadays, it may have been an hour and 50 minutes to where they might have been able to do more. But back then, movies were shorter.
Yeah.
So who
I
knows?
they have to go longer, but I would say, guys, the technology, the idea, whoever had the idea of this movie
It's
I would give
creative.
them a creative high score, but I would give them the execution and the end product
So you were at
5.7.
Yeah, you were at 5.7
mi-
balls. I'm gonna go in at 6 balls.
Before I get my score, the one creative thing I saw about it, like when the appliances are all getting linked and they're turning into a little transformer version of like a microwave,
That's where I got the Michael Bay feel.
I'm like, what are they shooting at him? Like, what is that? Like a toaster shooting? And then I realized
Sabre.
it's
the heating element of the toaster was shooting out at the guinea pigs.
it's retracting
I was
back
like,
in,
that's
wasn't it?
actually kind of
Yeah.
that's
it was
actually.
like shooting out, retracting back
I
in.
was like, that's a little clever, but
Well, Jared, it's time for your
all right,
balls.
my pack ball score. I'm gonna go with if the writers were serious, I'm putting my pack balls back in the cage, and this one gets a 0. If the writers thought, no, absolutely,
Oh.
it gets a 0. If the writers thought, dude, lighten up, this is supposed to be so dumb
Yeah.
that it's funny, I will give this thing 6.78
Oh, wow,
with
nice.
the 3 repeating pack balls.
All right, there you have it. We got a
What's your
5.7, 6.78, and a 6. So we're probably about
7.78. Hang on,
we're
I'm
probably
doing
like
the math right
6.2.
now.
6
The 3 equals 6.16.
There you
So
go.
we're gonna give it a 6.2.
Yes.
Packy balls.
We
that
round up
beats the
balls
Rotten
here.
Tomatoes of 22%.
But a 5.1 on IMDb. Honestly,
but
though,
it probably was
fun
supposed to be cheesy.
It was
though.
fun to go back and watch a Disney movie that I've seen, but maybe you guys didn't see. So
I think if I was like a 10-year-old sitting in there back in 2009 watching this movie, I would have been entertained and thought, I didn't realize I hadn't seen Hangover yet. I hadn't seen Hangover Part 2 yet.
Come out yet. Maybe it did.
When I went and I didn't realize that Zach Galifianakis is probably one of the funniest men alive.
Yeah.
And then I watched him just play this nerdy scientist that doesn't even really have a one-liner through the whole.
Yeah,
thing.
he's limited. Probably because it's G-rated too. That might be a huge factor. Yep,
That's true.
You have more, Jared?
No, I have
Fire
nothing.
away.
I have nothing. That's my score. We could go on for a while, but
House of M gives it an overall pokey pack
balls.
ball, pokey ball, all kinds of balls. We give it with a 6.2.
that's
decently
high praise.
With a nice Nicolas Cage impersonation. All right, so that's going to lead.
Nicolas Cage should have been given an Oscar award for that.
He does deserve one at least. So that's going to lead into our next segment, guys, and we are going to be doing another awesome fantasy draft, and we are going to be doing a fantasy draft of button mashing video games all time. It's going to be awesome. All right, guys, I get to go first in this. Probably one of my favorite fantasy drafts because we all love these video games. That's right, it's button smashing, button mashing, button pressing, video.
Button smashing.
Sounds a lot like that.
Ass pat. Oh.
So it's the
just
arcade
killed everybody.
cabinets. Jared just dominated people in Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. I'm sure those will get taken.
Caleb was king of the button mashing in Street Fighter.
E-Honda, baby. And they're just upset because I played a button mashing game and won a button mashing game. All right, I'm going to get to my first pick. I'm going to pick it because I know my other pick will last. I know it will. So I'm going to start with that one. Thank you guys very much. And the number one pick of the button smashing House of M draft, I'm taking Street Fighter 2. So I do think that if we're going to take Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, any of those, you got to classify or clarify which one. I'm going with Street Fighter 2, the Sega Genesis. That's the one that Cole was just referencing that I am the champion of in the Magnus household.
Unless you're not using E-Honda.
Yeah, E-Honda. I mean, Jared is Ken
But
a
most of
lot.
the countries
Cole
go
was
with E-Honda.
the chick. I forget her name.
Chun-Li.
Is it
Chun-Li.
button smashing if you have the Sega Genesis controller with a turbo setting where you can just hold the button in and it goes really fast?
Well, see, we can't afford those, and we only had
we had 'em.
We only had one turbo
only had one,
controller,
and I
and
always got to
Jared
use it.
always
That's
used
fair.
it.
I did
so,
always get to
yeah.
use it. I
So
did.
I was
used
always
it all the time.
yes. So I didn't have that advantage, but I think Street Fighter 2, obviously one of the most well-selling games of all time, one of the best arcade cabinet games of all time. I'm taking that one. I think it's a solid pick. It's one of the best fighting games that, and I know you guys won't argue this because you guys love it just as much as I do, and I didn't think it was going to last till my second pick. So, bam, there you have it, Street Fighter 2, Sega Genesis. I don't know which one of you guys are up next, but you
Which
guys
way we
get the
going? Is
second
it my
pick.
turn?
It doesn't matter. You guys can fight for it if you want.
Well, I'm going to take it off the board right now because it's probably one of the top 5 all-time on everybody's list. So I got to put it on there because it is my favorite game, and I know, it's going to go eventually, but God of War, all of them.
Yeah.
Not just the
okay. Cole takes all.
You take a franchise in
I'm
fantasy
just
drafts.
going to take a
Okay.
franchise because
Okay.
I remember when this game first came out, that people make fun of button mashing games, but they are some of the most popular games ever because guess what? You don't have to be some gamer nerd stuck in your basement being fed potato chips through a gerbil feeder. All you got to do is hit the buttons and have fun and use. Sometimes God of War threw in a little bit of puzzles. They threw in some little stuff. It was so
I
fun to
agree with
play.
you, yeah.
But when you were in the middle of a big battle, button pushing, slam, 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 slam. But it would always randomly throw in a hit X because I was playing PlayStation. Hit X.
Boo.
and then all of a sudden you have to hit circle.
It was
Then you have to move your
test for reaction.
It's like, whoa! I was in the middle of mashing buttons. Now I gotta stop and think about it.
I think that's
my first pick.
That's a good pick. So you're going with all of them. What? Real quick though, which one's your favorite?
I
Jared gets to his.
the first trilogy, the entire trilogy is my
Okay.
favorite.
Fair
God of
enough.
War 1, 2, and 3.
Fair enough. All right, Jared, you get 3 and 4 here.
All right, with 3, and when you say button mashing, and I know that everyone has their idea of what that means, it is pounding buttons hard and wreaking havoc on the screen and yelling carnal yells. But I think of, and we've talked about this, if you listened to us before.
PG-13 rated podcast.
And we like the idea of the arcade, and there's no better place. Sure, we don't get to smash buttons in the arcades as much anymore, but we do love the arcade. Maybe one day we'll incorporate it into our business. But I remember smashing the buttons of Tekken. Now here's the thing. Now
So
Street
you
Fighter,
get the whole franchise too.
yeah. Now I'm probably gonna exaggerate some, but I remember there being like 36 buttons for the punches and kicks and low kicks and high kicks. And as a child, you have no idea what you're doing in Tekken. But what you do is, like, I think I just picked a polar bear. I pressed a bunch of buttons. I won somehow, literally just smashing those buttons. And then you get a cool replay of how you just beat the computer, did a roundhouse kick with a polar bear, and then fell on him face first and like a butt smacker or something. It was like, hey, that's
And
amazing.
there's a meme going around that they have the first actual Tiger King in Tekken. The guy that it's just a guy and he's wearing a tiger mask.
Yeah, and that's what, and Tekken is great for button smashing.
I do agree with you on that.
So I'm gonna go with Tekken number 1 because I literally did not know the moves, but I had a lot of fun smashing away. And for my second pick, and this is another game that just immediately came to mind when I think of just games that cross over with franchises that I like, and it is the Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers for Xbox.
Nice.
Not a game that's going to be on the
I played
top.
that a couple
Not a
times.
game
That
that's
is
going to be on the
crazy
top of
game,
everyone's
amazing
list,
game.
but if out of the Lord of the Rings movies, the Helm's Deep scene with the orcs, and you get to reenact that, and this is an epitome, and it's similar to God of War. You're just pressing like 3 buttons, alternating them every now and then randomly, and you might do a combo, and you can learn little combos. But you're smashing orcs. It's literally you and whoever. It's multiplayer, and you're smashing orcs. You're carving your way through Middle Earth, wreaking havoc. And it's not that difficult, which is a good quality of a button smasher game because we want to feel powerful and amazing and escape. And that I love that game. I think I played it with
Agreed.
you guys, and it was fun.
Good pick, Jared. I will say that one probably would have lasted to the 4th round.
Well, yeah. Well, let me do, if we just picked the ones that everybody picks,
Okay.
but here we like to dive deep into the treasure trove of all the great games out there,
And
give
one
you
day
what we
when
like.
we get enough listeners, we will put these out there on Twitter and people will vote.
Let's put them out there. If nothing else, maybe the BBB and C.
yes,
will vote.
BB and C will vote on our
BB and
picks.
C.
I just typed
Cole,
BBC
you're second.
into
No.
Google. What's a anaconda?
Cole's going to pick his second pick here.
Is it back to me now?
Yes.
What was your?
He didn't even pay attention to Jared's picks.
Oh, I paid attention to Jared's
He
picks.
took Tekken and he took
took
Lord of the
Lord of
Rings.
the
Top
Rings.
game of
Lord of
all
the Rings.
time, Lord of the Rings
I thought it
2
was your
Towers
time. Oh, it goes
Xbox.
back.
No, I'm not
Goes
saying
back.
that was being facetious.
Oh, it goes
Snakes.
back.
Snakes.
So I'm always in the middle.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, I was actually waiting to see what Caleb picked, but that being said, I'm going with the Nintendo 64 WCW Nitro. Because I don't know if just a few we were playing it in Jared's basement.
Do you mean WCW versus NWO?
WCW versus NWO.
Okay, gosh, that was on my list.
On the Nintendo 64, we were playing in
Good
Jared's
pick.
basement. That was one of the funnest button mashing games because I don't know what I was doing, but every now and then I would do the right thing and I could throw people out of the ropes. We were doing like a battle royale, picking things up, hitting buttons. I don't remember what I hit, but you're smashing people. You feel like you're live in the brawl. That was one of the first games I remember playing when I was younger that made me feel like we had a 4-player control going on. We were in the middle of a battle royale, and you forget everything going on around you because you're in the middle of WCW, NWO, and it's pure mayhem.
Yeah, those games are amazing, and they're the epitome of button smashing because if you think about them, the way, like you said, you could pull a stop sign out and hit somebody 15 times.
Yeah, you just hit buttons till you find what works.
Yes. It was on my list, so I was going to wait later, but I'm mad that you took that. That's going to lead to, and this game comes up constantly, all the time, anytime we do video game lists. But I'm taking, since we get franchises, I'm taking Super Smash Brothers, my all-time favorite game. I will say Brawl is my absolute favorite. And I was talking to a guy at work about this as I was reviewing my list. And he was like, is that a button smashing game? And I was like, when you sit down with 4 guys that are excellent at that game, it turns into, you do have to have some memory, but it is all about button smashing because it's about picking the items up first. It's about getting the moves done. It's about dodging and blocking. And it's just crazy. You're constantly pressing a button. My all-time favorite game. I don't have to explain it to anyone. That's one of the best games out there. So I'm taking the Super Smash
it's
franchise.
Actually been sold out everywhere because everybody's stuck at home playing right
Yes, and the new character's coming out soon. You got to pay $10. I see that makes me mad about Smash Brothers. Is that
you have to buy the
$10 for every new character that comes out. So, all right, yep, that's going to be my second pick. With my third pick, I don't want to take this yet, but I am. It is a sports game because we're talking about arcade cabinets here. I'm taking NFL Blitz. And this was another one where it was questioned, is this a button smashing? Yes, it is a button smashing because you're constantly pressing buttons in NFL Blitz. Once the ball is hiked, you are literally trying to tackle anyone on the field because they don't have to have the ball to tackle them. I am constantly tackling anyone that is running down the field. It's just constant button pressing, button smashing. And yeah, I do think that all the fumble turnovers from that and jumping on the players at the end of the game or at the end of the drive or whatever, it's a button smashing game, and I think it's a great series. It's one of the great cabinets as well out there that you can get. I'm taking the NFL Blitz franchise.
All right. That's
you guys
fair.
probably didn't see that coming.
It definitely is because when you're tackling, you're just slamming square.
Oh, yeah.
Or not square. You're slamming whatever system you're playing it on. You're just jumping all over the place to try to get
and tackling receivers in midair with no ball.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That is.
I'm taking Blitz.
I'm gonna agree
franchise.
with you. We didn't define our terms, but I'm with you on that one.
So I back to my pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we my first one was God of War. Went Nintendo Nitro versus or WCW versus NWO.
Good pick.
And in the third hole, I'm actually going with a game. It was a tie for me, but I'm not gonna give what the tie was between because one of you guys might pick it.
Yep.
But I got a game for Christmas from my son, which was Marvel versus Capcom.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
And I was playing it, and
Did you get
felt
the new one for the Switch?
Actually, I got it for the PS4.
Oh, nice.
This was PS4.
Yes.
So when I was playing it, I was like, I played with Was it not Balrog? What was the Russian?
The boxer.
No, the big Russian dude.
Oh no, he's
Zangief. Zangief. And I literally destroyed the game twice, and then like all I had to do was hit a bunch of buttons with him. And I'm like, man, this is they're trying to turn this into a button masher because I don't remember being this good with Zangief and Street Fighter.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of like, but I had a lot of fun. I'm sitting there in the living room, standing up, having these battles, and it felt like they actually instilled a lot of button mashing in that game. That's a very good game to play, by the way.
So you get that
all
whole
your Street Fighter,
you get that whole franchise, honestly.
all your Marvel characters.
Yep. That sounds fun because what makes that exciting is you think about those type of games, they could be intimidating if you don't know all the moves. But if they add a little bit of a button mashing element into it, you might know all the moves, but I kicked you with the same kick in the face 15 times before you got him off.
What happens is you get somebody that's never played the game, and it doesn't get as boring because all of a sudden they can beat you because
just pressing buttons.
by just pressing buttons. You're like, you don't know how to do that. You didn't even know what you just did.
I like that. Actually, makes me want to
pressing buttons better than you.
That makes me want to go get that game. All right, I'm gonna go with a couple of button smashing games that, we didn't define our terms, so I'm gonna go with this here. Hack and slash and button smash are very similar to me, and that's why God of War and Lord of the Rings. But this one right here, if you ever hack slash button mash, but it kind of goes similar with my last pick. We played this game a lot. It's the Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, man, I was going to take that.
Dynasty Warriors, and I just remember playing
that on PlayStation 2 all the time.
Yeah, way back. We might have
5.
played the first one, and we were
Maybe.
renting these from Blockbuster.
Yes.
And I think me and Caleb played these a lot, but
Yep.
I think Cole might have played them as well. But I said you were taking out an orc army. That's great and everything, but in Dynasty Warriors, you are taking out thousands and thousands of hordes of army, just you and like whoever your co-op is. and
and
there's
riding around on a horse.
and there's random generals that you might have to fight. They're a little tougher, but you literally could take on an entire army by yourself by pressing 3 buttons. And I honestly don't think that the moves got too
it's like XXX
elaborate.
square.
I don't think there was a ton of combos. It was literally So I
Good
love
pick.
Dynasty Warriors. If you want to feel like you are awesome and you don't have to put cheat codes in, you can go play Dynasty Warriors on
I might buy that actually. I have that on next game night.
my 4th pick. This is another game. This is a great social game. If you can social distance it with a gathering of less than 10, you can play it right now or play online. It's Mario Party. Mario
nice.
Party, all the mini games are button smashers. You're smashing them fast. Literally, some of them are like, who can press this button faster than everyone else? And it's reaction time. But there's always a lot of fun games. You can play versus each other, co-op, 1-on-3. If you haven't played Mario Party, and if you're listening, you probably have, you're not too cool for it. Mario franchise is amazing.
Definitely not too cool.
Play Mario Party with some people, with your wife, with your friends, with your husband. If you're listening to this, just play it. And it's a great time, especially in this time where we're quarantined and you need to do things and be creative.
With a rough second pick, Jared, your 3rd and 4th picks
Thank
were
you. Some value
got
there.
value.
I got some value there. Okay, thank you.
It's like reaching for Drew Sample last year, like the Bengals.
Well, I knew I could get them. I knew they'd
Yeah.
be there.
So we're back to me again.
Yes.
I'm just torn because I don't know if it counts, but
It counts.
It counts.
no, what I'm saying is, weren't most like Atari and Nintendo games button mashing games?
Yeah. Fair.
Like I was trying to think of like
Yeah.
one. I'm like, well, most of them you had 2 buttons to hit from, and Atari sometimes you only had 1.
But if you're cranking on that button a lot,
So I'm gonna go.
it's not like
I'm
strategic.
gonna go
where you hit it
with
every now and
button
then.
mashing
You're pounding the B.
arcade.
If you pound the B.
Button mashing arcade with the Ninja
Oh, I
Teenage
thought about
Mutant
that. I
Ninja
thought-
Turtles
yeah.
arcade game
that works.
where you don't even know what you're doing. You're just hitting buttons, knocking down the foot soldier and stuff like that. And I remember playing that for hours. The arcade version, not the one like the first one that came out with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where you like.
Oh
walk
yeah,
around
no,
and-
you're absolutely right. That's
arcade
absolutely
version.
a button smashing game. I remember you're in that first scene in the fire in the building, and there's like 50 foot soldiers coming out of the door. You're just hammering your sword, your bow. You're not messing around. You're not jumping and being strategic. You're just like, I gotta get these guys out. They're
Which I was
overwhelming
trying to
me.
debate like in my head because most Nintendo games you're running around mashing either A or B.
Yes.
Sometimes A and B.
And a popular smash, popular button smash. I remember in the arcade game, and I remember that one playing it in the arcade physically and in our consoles was you would jump and jump kick, and you might hammer that through a whole level because you need to dodge things a lot, and you're jumping and coming down with that killer downward motion jump kick that those turtles had in that game.
Yeah. Good pick, Cole. Obviously one of our favorites
that's
that we
a great-
got to play together growing up. So that's fun too. Throws back that nostalgic. With my 4th pick, I'm getting a steal. It's out there. It's the Mortal Kombat franchise. If no one picked that, see, Cole was gonna take. Were you
No,
gonna
I
take?
wasn't gonna take it just because it's on everybody's
That's
list.
fine.
Kind of like
yeah, and if this goes
kind of
on,
like God of War. I wasn't gonna take it. It's just on everybody's list.
yeah, well, if this goes on Twitter or Instagram, I'm gonna win because
If that's what it's all about, it's just
that is what it's all
Actually,
about.
Marvel vs. Capcom comes
Yes.
higher than Mortal Kombat.
I would say that, but it's not there anymore. I'm taking Mortal Kombat. You guys could diss it all you want.
I'm not
Mortal
dissing it.
Kombat
It's
2.
definitely a button pusher, but you don't know how to do the finishers unless you know what to hit.
ooh.
Yeah, true.
That's a knock on it against being a button pusher.
No, not really. Because all those fighting games have finishers. Tekken has finishers. Marvel vs. Capcom has finishers. Street Fighter don't have.
To me, it was just
But-
Mortal Kombat. You always played to rip somebody's spine out and puke down their neck hole.
Yeah, but I'm thinking. So our first cabinet that we
that
bought
low
at,
kick
at
from Liu
House
Kang.
of M was Mortal Kombat 2, and literally though in Mortal Kombat 2, all you're doing is button smashing.
You're
There
low
was
kicking
not a
like
lot
cray.
of moves. The finishing moves
You're
were
right.
not that cool.
Yeah.
So,
But
that's
when
fair.
it got to the more advanced ones,
Yes.
like I remember, was it Mortal Kombat 4? There was one we were playing when we still lived in the
Are you talking
Post
about like
Creek
PlayStation?
Road. Yeah, it was a PlayStation
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2 or 3, I can't remember. But you could actually like sit there and train to do like 56
yeah.
hit combos with your buttons that you hit.
Yeah.
I was always Kung Lao playing it, and then you would get a button masher. Caleb came in and be a button masher, and he kept beating me when I
See?
tried to do my 56 56 hit combo with Kung Lao.
I was just getting ready to say that happens in these button mashing games. Is like an inexperienced person can come in and take down an experienced.
I think I
person.
remember picking your remote up and throwing it across the room, Caleb.
I can see.
I told you to get out.
So with my last pick, another game that is near and dear to us that we all got to play together and is button smashing at times is I'm getting the Diablo franchise. Diablo, I don't even think I have to explain it. You get caught in scenarios where, yeah, you might have to wait for your mana to refresh, but you're in there in AAA or square, XXX, whatever platform you're playing on, EEE if you're on the computer, which is lame. But no, Diablo, just tear it up. I love it. It's one of our favorite games to play together on the screen, couch sitting, if that's what you want to call it. But yeah, so I'm getting Diablo franchise to finish out my draft. I think it's a strong draft. I got an RPG in there. So yeah, back to you, Cole. I'm loving my draft. We're gonna get these out there.
I got to go
this
with
time.
another old school one because I played it the other day. I would have to say Mega Man 11 has added some additional. It's added some additional like skills that you had to do where you had to hit because I played on the Switch, beat the game easily. Probably one of my favorite games I played on the Switch for a while. But I'm gonna have to go with the Mega Man because Mega Man, you give it to anybody that doesn't know how to play, and all they got to do is jump and fire. Like it's more, you almost go back to like the Mario, the time jump. But I always liked how Mega Man, how you were always firing your blaster, and you were just hitting a ton of buttons, flying through the level. Like I gave it to my wife, and she's never played Mega Man before, and she absolutely loved it because she was just sitting there blasting away with her fire blasters, jumping, blowing things up. They made it easy to hit your targets. Like, and I don't know, it's just Mega Man.
Mega
to me,
Man's amazing.
Once I learned some of the powers you needed when you got to the advanced levels, and it was really not necessarily the powers, it was how to slow down time on Mega Man 11. So you had to hit the button to slow down time when you're like running through. You had your dog that comes down and you can jump. But other than that, I mean, I'm firing, blasting, and running through the levels, just fire blasting.
I agree. That's a good pick.
Oh, Mega Man.
That's a great franchise. I think you're
Mega
gonna get,
Man
like,
is
12
amazing.
games there
Mega
with
Man
that.
is amazing. Well,
Close the draft.
is
out,
this
Jared.
closing out, guys? I'm bringing it. I am not gonna lie. The game's name had escaped me, but I found it.
Uh-oh.
This game gets 4.9 out of 5 from OldGameShelf.com. And
A reliable source.
NES game, you guys will remember it, and you don't know that it was named, and we referenced World War II. The game is 1942. Look it up. What 1942 is? You're a plane. You're a plane, and all you are doing is constantly shooting the whole time, and it's taking you advancing through the level. Objects are coming at you. You dodge them. You shoot your guns. You dodge them. You shoot your guns. And it's one of those games. No, that's top down, or that's like this is when you're actually advancing. The level moves forward, planes and the enemy come at you. You have to go side to side, forward and back, but you are never not shooting your guns. And it was one where you could get like a power up and your gun changed to like 3 instead of 1 or single shot. Do you guys remember this game?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I gotta be honest.
I remember that game, Jared.
I am showing Caleb. I'm lifting up my computer, showing him 1942.
Yes.
Okay.
1942. I remember that game.
Oh yeah, I figured Cole would. It's a little. It
Yeah, there was
obviously
like
was probably made
take
before.
off. Oh my god.
Caleb wasn't a twinkle in our dad's eye when this game was made.
He might have been a twinkle, but
1984. 1984. So.
All right. Cool. Perfect.
guys, I have to say, when I was thinking about button, I have to ask for the group collective. I feel like nobody, and I looked at lists online. Nobody is putting the Call of Duties as button mashing, and I'm sitting there like, you know
I don't
what?
think it's button mashing.
Well, hang on.
Spraying and praying.
Hang on. All I need to know how to do is pull the trigger and run around because I play with my boy all the time, and it's like I might die sometimes, but then I respawn, and then I run around and I get the biggest machine guns, and I'm just blasting and spraying and praying and
Spraying
going
and parrying
through.
is different
Nah,
than button smashing because you just hold down right trigger.
I know.
Well,
I don't know. I mean,
I'm just saying,
I see your
like, you don't need a lot of skill to go in. I mean, I know I'm
to
pissing
play
off a lot
online.
of.
You do.
I'm pissing off a lot of guys. Look, campers. I'm a super gamer and I camp.
You mash your button better than I do.
And they are button mashers. If they tell you they're not button mashers, because they're jump, 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 fire, spin, spin, jump, jump, and I camp. Camping out up here, guys. Camping out. Oh, guy respawn, snipe, dead.
Well, I think we talked about it.
Guys.
Call of Duty. I don't know which one you're playing, but they incorporated Warzone and Plunder now, and it has the Fortnite setup to where the map closes. So camping, if you play those games, you start out I think with 150 people. Is no more because the map condenses, like gas fills up the air, and you'll die if you're in one spot. So I do agree that people camp, but if you get in those game modes,
I actually it made it so not fun for me that I quit playing.
That's fair.
Because it's like a guy camps
That's
out with
probably
a
one of my
sniper
favorite
rifle.
games,
This goes back to Halo. When you're playing Halo online,
Yeah, Jared just
and there was a bunch of
sat
campers out
Yeah.
there that just snipe.
You know what? Obviously,
And then you turn around and you got the jumper. He's just jumping.
And
I'm
Halo
just jumping.
jumpers for sure.
jumping.
that zombie add-on was obviously button mashing in the Call of Duty game, where you could unlock
And
the
I would like to.
zombie
I would like to
top
close.
down, top screen, top view.
I want to close.
That
If
game
you
was
guys don't mind, I'll close the segment out. Unless you got something else to say with
No, we're probably gonna wrap up.
with
Fire.
the button mashers of the generation. And we just had this thing about Call of Duty. You know, we have the kids playing these games these days. I gave my 13-year-old son the remote control and said, "Here, play Super Mario." And he dropped the remote and threw it after a few times, realizing that you don't get to save your game. And you go back to the beginning if you don't have the skill, son. And you go back there and you play your Call of Duties and you play yours. You come out here when you beat Super Mario Brothers.
Now, Cole,
Drop the mic.
Cole, to your 13-year-old son, if you're listening, play it on the Switch and you can save a game. You
Play it
save the
on a
loadout.
Nintendo.
Play it on a Nintendo.
You save the loadout. Just letting you know.
No.
All right. So that's going to lead to the rapid fire. We are back at it this week on a rapid fire. Jared's going to give it a fun name. Enjoy it, guys.
All right, it is time for the antiviral breastplate of albino Valkyries plus 33 health regeneration per second. We can win. We can beat it.
You know, I always,
dead.
anytime you're going for male or any
Bring
of that type
out
of
your
armor,
dead.
the breastplate is the most important because it covers the heart.
And when you get
And
that
the breasts.
regeneration, health regeneration too,
Yes.
and
Sorry, guys. The wheelbarrow was going around collecting bodies.
ring out your dead. All right, guys, we're gonna come. We got a couple of new ideas for you. We're gonna mix it up a little bit with this rapid fire debate. First, we're gonna go with. We've talked about them. We're gonna throw them into the ring. We have a tag team match of the Tiger King and Tigra from the Thundercats are taking on the Crocodile Hunter and Killer Croc from the Batman animated series in the squared circle.
Guys, this is easy. I didn't spend a lot of time researching this one because you threw Tiger from Thundercats in there.
Tigra.
I don't know if you guys have seen the agility, the speed,
Yeah, he's
and,
fast.
and the way that he uses the whip. You know,
Thing's nasty.
And he can become invisible.
yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but dude,
You can become invisible? I missed that one.
so one, you have that. You have that element going in there. Now, the Tiger King, I don't know if you've seen this, like the superpowers this guy has, but he has some amazing superpowers to where he can talk to animals. He's kind of got the Dr. Dolittle. He hangs out with huge, monstrous death lions and makes you feel comfortable around them to where he can lure you into
The voice of a siren.
he can lure you in and be like, look, come on, and then he also has a trigger command that will have these tigers rip your body to shreds. Now, Killer Croc is going to put up a good fight, but I think with Tigra there to come in and kind of subdue the Killer Croc, it's going to be Tiger King versus the Crocodile Hunter. And I hope nobody out there gets offended by this, but Crocodile Hunter was taken out by a stingray. The stingray didn't have any superpowers, and we're talking about some multiple superpowers here.
To be fair, the Tiger King was taken out by a woman.
He's not out yet. He's in jail.
Fair.
We fight to the death in rapid
We
fire.
fight to the death in rapid
This
fire.
isn't Baskin's husband.
Now, if the Killer Croc. This is how the battle goes down, guys. So it actually is going to take place, even if it's outside of the compound of the tiger's lair, whatever. So that you got the crocodile versus Tigra. The crocodile's trying to take this battle into more of a his amphibious.
Right.
He's going to take it into the pond area. Okay, so he's jumping into that pond. At the same time, Tigra is chasing him in there, wraps him around with his whip. The crocodile hunter is down. So he's down. He fell down. The Tiger King actually picked him up, wrapped him in, put him into the meat wagon with all the leftover old meat from Walmart.
The Walmart truck.
To be dumped in the Tiger's thing. Grabs his AR-15, runs out, and just randomly shoots into the pond because he's angry. And he had lined the entire pond with explosives. While the crocodile, while Killer Croc thought that he was going into a nice water terrain, unknowingly that it was wired with dynamite, and the Tiger King ends up finishing the entire thing. Accidentally takes out Tigra in the meantime because he's just blowing up stuff into the pond, hitting it with dynamite, blowing things up, random bullets spray into the side of Tiger's face. So the last person standing is just Tiger King.
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
You guys know he's got corona, right?
Does he?
Yeah.
No.
That's what they said online. And before I got to my take,
Half of
you guys,
Jared, half of infected patients don't show
Jared brought
symptoms.
up
Caleb.
Carol's husband. I know we got to get into rapid fire, but that photo when they get married and he is on a leash.
And he got fed to the tigers.
Oh my god.
That guy got fed to the tigers.
All right. I'm going to go. I do think it is close. I don't want to disrespect Crocodile Dundee or Crocodile Hunter. But I
Good night, mate.
I am going to go with Joe Exotic and Tigra. I do think Tigra and Killer Croc have a great battle because Killer Croc is an awesome wrestler and also has a healing factor to where he can heal himself. So I do believe that. And he's a crocodile, so you can't really penetrate his skin. So the whip is kind of all in void, if that's what you want to say. And I think that's a good battle. But I do think the craziness of Joe Exotic and just we believe in it a lot here. Dumb luck. He's just gonna randomly stumble upon something, and he's just gonna take out Killer Croc and Crocodile because he did go out by a stingray, and I know that's weak, but I mean. Like I said, I don't like disrespecting him. He was awesome to watch growing up. But I'm going also with Cole on this one. And I love Cole's take with the extra meat from Walmart that was sent out into the grinder. Yeah, I'm going with Joe Exotic. And it might be because he's hot right now. He's what's on fire. But Joe Exotic and Tigra take him.
Guys, this could be, it doesn't happen a lot here, but I'm going to agree with you and take Joe Exotic, the Tiger King, and Tigra. Because here, when you think about these matchups going down and how it actually looks physically when they meet, I see Joe Exotic living in his own world, always wants to, I see him actually just singing and playing a guitar like one of his music videos that we were singing about, like I saw a tiger and a tiger saw a man.
He did see a man.
And if he sings that song, because that might be his superpower song,
tiger,
and
a tiger saw a man.
And that song might have a hypnotic effect, and if he starts playing that, they'll either be dumbfounded or there'll just be a pause before things even get going. Tigra will be completely confused, his own partner. But what will happen, and this is what my issue might be with Crocodile Hunter, because that guy, if you ever watched him back in the day, he was obsessed with letting the viewer know if the crocodile was a male or a female.
Yeah.
So he'd go up, he'd be like, all right now.
Oh, no,
he jumps on his back, he's wrestling the crocodile, he's like, all right now. We're going to see if this here is a male or a female. And he'd shove things up in different, and he's like, yep, we got ourselves a female here, so she's not actually trying to eat me. She's just trying to protect her babies. And you're like, what's going, so my issue with here was Killer Croc is a masculine figure, but I think that the Crocodile Hunter might get really confused, to want to find out if he's
together, right?
They're a team, but I think he's gonna freak out Killer Croc.
His sexuality.
He's gonna jump on Killer Croc and try to find out if Killer Croc is a male or a female. Killer Croc and him might get in their own little tussle. Next thing you know, a couple things of Tannerite get tossed over, and Joe Exotica lights them up. He then feeds them to the tigers, but the Tannerite is actually the death blow to Killer Croc. And Crocodile Hunter, R.I.P.
What was the
Tiger
song- what was the song where-
Tiger is dumbfounded the whole time, and then he steals all of Joe's Exotic's tigers and takes them back to Thundera.
There you go. That's fair.
What
And
what was the
his
song
apes
where the
and his
woman was
lions.
that looked just like the
Oh,
or was feeding like
he was
pieces
feeding parts of
part-
Carol
body
Baskin to
part?
tigers. That show is that documentary is just amazing. It's
Oh yeah, like
limitless. Gosh.
his obsession with that. But
So
yeah, that's my take.
we all take.
All right.
All right. Cool.
That's it. So we only got one more here, and this is just kind of fun. We just want to
It's a
mix
little
it
different.
up. Yeah, a lot of times we're like, "Hey, Iron Man versus Thanos, who'd win?" But no, this is
we
different.
know who wins that.
This is gonna be. I was thinking survival, so I wanted to drop and think about it being all TV or not. I'm dropping Bear Grylls into the biggest survival scenario of his life. So Bear Grylls visits Jurassic World. It's in fully operational. It exists. There's probably 100,000 people in the park. He's in there with his family, enjoying Jurassic World in its entirety. And a zombie apocalypse breaks out, and the infection is spreading rapidly through all of the guests, and the dinosaurs get loose. And here we are. We have Bear Grylls, the survival man of all survival men, is stuck in the middle of this island. Does he survive? And if so, how?
I think. See, this take's not going to be as fun because there's no how. But I don't think he survives, and it's because Bear Grylls, as much as he has a following, he doesn't. There's still those videos out to where all his when he got later, his sets were staged.
Oh, hold on. I should preface this.
Okay.
I'm saying Bear Grylls as a fictional character almost.
Oh, okay.
The idea of what Bear
The
Grylls could
idea
be.
of what
Because you're
Bear
absolutely right.
Grylls
Yeah,
was.
yeah. He's a
Okay.
character.
Well, give
He's
me
a
a second.
character.
Then. Why don't you guys do your take then?
Well, look.
Because I was going to say
I
no
don't doubt.
instantly.
Yeah.
I don't doubt at any time that Bear Grylls doesn't know how to survive, but knowing how to survive and surviving are two different things.
Yes.
We kind of went over this before. It's the application of the idea. Like he can stand there all the time, look at all these zombies.
That's
Like,
deep.
all right, there's a path down this way, and we can survive off eating these rare velociraptor poop. That if you dig into it, it actually has some good protein. I don't even know how to do his accent. It's
No,
like,
but
it's good
that's
protein in
something
the,
he would
in
say.
the velociraptor poop there.
Vitamins too.
So and he's gonna
high in
get
vitamins.
there's a lot of vitamins. So he's gonna fill his satchel up with velociraptor poop and some rare leaves only found back in the early days with some goppleberries or something. He's like, you never heard of these before because they are extinct, but not here. They're not extinct. They're packed with vitamins. He's gonna put them in his bag. Anyways,
His wife's like, "What are you doing?"
he's like,
"We gotta get out of here."
yes. So he's able to survive based on keeping his body alive and knowing not what to eat to kill him. But when you are faced with ravenous zombies, we don't even know if this virus goes to animals or not.
gosh.
Does the virus turn the dinosaurs
Oh,
into
goodness.
zombies as
be
well
bad.
as the humans into zombies? He doesn't stand a chance. He's actually just running around and collecting stuff with high-end vitamins does you absolutely no good at all. There is no scenario. Now, the only scenario is if he pre-stages an area where he can be picked up and he has to survive for a certain amount of time.
in a nice hotel.
And yes. So all I'm saying is if he has to survive a certain amount of time, maybe. But I give him a max 48 hours, and that is pushing it. That is pushing
48
it.
hours. Cole's giving him 2
48
days.
hours, because have you seen the size of Jurassic World? That thing's huge.
Yes, I was
like
gonna
you
say
can
that.
run and hide for a long time.
I was gonna say, I think Jared, when he mentioned that it's the idea of what Bear Grylls could be and the knowledge that he's fed and given, I do think he will survive. Not a lifetime, though. I am with Cole on that one. I just think if the zombies start to infect the dinosaurs and what is of that whole island, it's too big. And it's just the survival rate is not going to be there. We know he's good in the woods. We know he's good on finding, as Cole was saying, vitamins. We know he's good at tracking animals that he might be able to eat before they get infected. But this all depends on what weapons he has, too, because Jurassic World did not believe in harming their animals. So they had, like, tasers and things that would tranquilize them. But Bear Grylls isn't going to come up with some of his awesome knives he has. Or, I mean, you're not going to be able to cut up a tree and stab a dinosaur with it. So I just don't think Bear Grylls could last a lifetime there. And he's obviously not going to get a plane. I'm with Cole, but I think he does last maybe like a week or two, not just 48 hours.
I initially was giving him a good chance, but Cole's take really informed my decision. It's some of the advantage of going last year. I'm gonna, and that's gonna be a caveat, but I'm gonna give it to him. And Cole's right. If the extraction point is in the middle of the island in the wilderness, Bear Grylls has a chance to survive because he will get there fast. Like he'll move. He'll take some very. What's the thing when people take the most creative ways to get to new places? Parkour. He'll parkour through the park. He'll climb the most difficult thing that you're like, dude, you could have walked down the aisle. But he'll climb something. He can get to the wilderness. If the extraction point is in the middle of that island, away from the chaos, absolutely. If the extraction point's like down by the dock, he has to go through the chaos to get there. I think he's done because Cole's right. There's some instincts to his superpowers, and one of his superpowers is not only eating things that you're like he could survive on, but he always wants to like make a shelter like 10 minutes into his visit. And if he gets to that dock before they're there, he's gonna get distracted by like tearing off some of this siding and fastening with this rope and weaving this little hammock. You're like, dude, you're getting extracted in 45 minutes, but he's going to be building something, getting really into that project, and he's either going to be eaten alive by zombies or torn apart by a velociraptor, or hopefully, if he goes down cinematically, he's getting torn apart by zombies, and then the Megalodon comes out of nowhere and eats them all.
The Megalodon.
Because the Megalodon was obviously the coolest part of the Jurassic Park.
That's true. That's fair. I think that's a good take. So we all say he doesn't survive?
Mine was, I kind of took a
You say
a
that he gets extracted?
Let's say the extraction point, they probably do put it in somewhere in civilization. I think he doesn't make it. Cole's right. His
There's only
skill
one
set.
guy I know that could survive this. That's John
Grimes?
Rambo.
John Wick
John Rambo.
and John Wick.
Cole's right. John Rambo would have
No,
killed
John
everything
Wick.
on the island.
John Wick with a lot of guns, maybe, but John Rambo knows how to survive in the wild with his
Pencil
bare
is all I
hands.
got.
John
Say
Rambo
with John
cancels
Wick.
apocalypses.
Yes.
To be fair, John Wick takes on John Rambo any day of the week.
No.
Next week, tune in on House of M podcast.
No.
That concludes our antiviral breastplate of albino Valkyries plus 33.6 health regeneration.
That was a great show. Back-to-back weeks, we're giving you a show during the apocalyptic meltdown of the Chinese virus. And it is about every hour to 2 hours. There is a guy who dressed like strangely off of the Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and he's asking us to bring out his dead. I'm not sure what that's all about. But I will tell you that we are thankful to be here, thankful to be bringing another show. We will be doing a live comic book sale,
That's right.
which if those of you who have been to one or seen one, you know that we bring some entertainment as well as some really good prices, good books, and we just like to have fun doing it. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's at H of M Cincy with a Y, CINCY. That's at H of M Cincy, CINCY. We love you guys, and we will see you next time.
And hey, we want you to stay safe, and we will tell that RNA spewing sack of protein that this is America. See you guys next week.